Hey guys, it's RyRy McGUY here. Welcome to my channel. You can call me Ryan. And we're talking about cross-stitching and crafting and needle arts and all those crafty, fun kind of stuff. So if you're new here, that's what you can expect. If you're returning, welcome back. It's been a while. It's been about maybe 5 or 6 weeks. I think the last video I put up was in June and we're literally the very last weekend in July. So I'm hoping to squeak in just under the wire. If I can manage to get this edited and up in the next day, then we should be good to go. So it's happening. What's been happening in the month of July? Just work, a lot of work, and we went away to the cottage. Well, to a cottage. We don't own a cottage. We rent a cottage every summer for a week or so. And well, needless to say, we haven't done that in a few years. 2019 was the last time. And we like going to Prince Edward County. There's a sort of a little cluster of cottages at the bottom of an apple orchard right along the shores of Lake Ontario. And it's wine country and cheese country and yeah, really cute towns along the way. And it's really nice to get out of the city and relax. If you've watched my channel before, you know I have a cat, Stanley, and he's popped in a few times to visit. We also have a dog. Her name is Stella. She's about 5. She's a rescue, so we don't know exactly her specific age. She's from Northern Ontario, and we try to take her out as much as we can in the city. We live right downtown Toronto. There's not a lot of green space, but there's a few pockets. There's a few dog parks within walking distance, and she enjoys being outside. But at the cottage, whole different game, whole different game. She took to it like a duck to water. It was really just so delightful to see. She spent almost every single second of daylight hours outside, and she'd just lie in the grass and watch all the critters and creatures popping their heads up and birds singing and things in the water. Absolutely loved it, and she would crash so hard at night. So, it was really, and I could relate. It was just so nice to get out of the city, and I kind of treated it as a bit of a retreat, as a Stitchy retreat. So, one week, no work, no interruptions, no disturbances. And I kind of packed like it was a retreat. So I had fun picking some projects. I took some works in progress. I especially enjoyed finding projects that I could start there that would be new and fun and exciting. So I picked a few of those. We'll be chatting about that, obviously. However, we had a little bit of a wrinkle. It seemed the Rona found us. Pretty much the first night that we were there, my partner Peter came down with a fever and a cough and a sore throat, and I only had fatigue. So I think we were really, really fortunate. Considering how hard we worked. Over the past 2.5 years, kind of avoiding it and social distancing and masking and vaxing and more vaxing and boosting. So honestly, it was a mixed blessing. It was a really nice way to spend our time in isolation. It didn't affect us too much. It sort of forced us to kind of eat up all the food that we brought, so we didn't go out to restaurants or anything. But we still managed to have a great time, and I still got some stitching in. And like I said, Stella had a blast. So, I think we're already talking about booking next year's next year's cottage stay. So, anyways, I can even feel my throat still a little hoarse. If that's bothering you, I'm sorry. I'll try to keep it lubricated here. All right. You're here for stitching, not cottage talk. So let's talk about stitching. Like I said, actually, I'll start with a work in progress. That's kind of a new start, I think, since my last video. In fact, I'm running out of project bags here. This is a little pouch that I picked up. less bitchin', more stitchin'. This is uh, from a woman in the UK, and the name of her shop is Curious Twist. Just found her online. I bought some hand-dyed fabric for a project that I was about to start, and I thought, well, since I've got my shopping cart open, I may as well throw in a few things. So I got this cute little pouch, which is a perfect size for a tiny stitching project. Let's see what we have here. I don't know if you know Kaylee Cross Stitch. I spoke about her in my last video, and I'll be showing everything in the drop-down description box below. So Kaylee Cross Stitch sent me a cute little letter with some floss. It's some Invisifil. I showed this off to you in the last video. It's Invisifil along with a special treat. It's almond M&M's beautiful green silk floss. And a little swatch of fabric is 56 count. And so we're going with the hashtag trying tiny stitching. And I did do some tiny stitching before. I took one of the mini bouquets from Jeannette Douglas and turned it into a needle minder. And this is where, oh, so what am I stitching? I'm talking them all a minute again. Let's slow down. This is what I'm stitching. It's called a Posey Go Round by Ink Circles. And this is a Patreon exclusive. So I'm a Patreon member of hers. And yeah, I thought that this would be a really nice design. It doesn't have a lot of compact stitching. So there's some space for those tiny stitches to breathe. And there's 3 colors, so really simple color palette. And Posey Go Round. This is, for a hoop, I'm actually using a hoop that came in a little Christmas ornament kit. And this is how far I got. I don't know how the zoom is going to work. It's pretty tiny, guys. It's pretty tiny. This was not an easy stitch. I needed the little headgear with the magnifiers and my stand so I could use my both hands here. And I ended up using a very fine beading needle. And it turns out, yeah, the way I stitch, I ended up poking myself a lot in the fingers. So it was a bit of a struggle. And which is maybe why I didn't get as far as I did. But still, I think it's sweet. I think it'll turn out well. And I think that this might be a great size for a little needle minder as well. So yeah, so that was something I didn't take to the cottage. And in a way, I'm glad I didn't. One of my criteria was to pick projects that weren't working on a very high thread count. And just because I wanted it to be a bit easier to work with. And fortunately, you know, we had beautiful days. I got to sit outside, so I didn't need to worry about a lamp or anything. And I even brought my stand, so that worked out well. So the first project I packed and that I took with me, it's a Chatelaine project. And my magnets are sticking together here. It's a Chatelaine project. Let me take this out here. Oh, and here, this might be a cute time to tell you the little index library book card. If you know Lori Holt, I think she sells these under her brand, and but I couldn't find a Canadian retailer, so I actually ended up just going to Amazon and buying these little pockets and these little cards. So I started writing all of the project details on here and slip it in my project bag. And yeah, it's working out great. It's a really good idea. And unfortunately, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure what they were designed for. So I can give Lori credit for that inspiration. But also, if you watch Trixie Tricycle Jody, She went to a StitchCon not that long ago, and one of the things that she brought to share with some other stitchers in kind of a trading event was these little pockets that she had sewn with project cards, where you can keep a record of the materials and the pattern name and everything. And I thought that was just such a clever idea too, and they turned out beautifully. So I know that this isn't quite the same, but anyway, the project Chatelaine. It is called a Bold Band Sampler #1, and what I liked about it, I'm attracted to the beading aspect. I'm attracted to the specialty stitches, but I have to say I was intimidated by the size of a lot of the Chatelaine projects. I was also intimidated. She uses a lot of specialty yarns and flosses and beads, and it's really difficult to sort of accumulate to kit it up. It's a bit of a challenge. So I picked something that was a little simpler, and still, you know, the material supply is quite extensive, and some of them are. I mean, look at this black rayon floss here. Like honestly, that was a little bit of a nightmare. A little bit of a nightmare to work with. You can see it's quite curly. It really retains that curl. It's got a selection of DMC, Gloriana. We've got some treasure braid. It's got some treasure braid. It's got some NPI, some needlepoint silk, and I really loved the color palette, and of course the beads. You know, it wouldn't be a Chatelaine if it didn't have a little assortment of beads. And instead of doing all the kitting myself, I went the easy route, although it was certainly a long route. I went the easy route and used a European cross-stitch company. She again, link in the drop-down box below. She works at putting these, she kits up these projects for you. So you can buy the thread pack, you can buy the bead pack, you can buy them both. And it takes quite a while for her to gather everything. I think I waited maybe 8 or 9 months for this particular project. And let me show you where I am. Oh, so again, why I took this to the cottage. It's on a 28 count. Let me see, 28 count Swigart antique white. And I'm using all the called for, like I mentioned. No swap outs, no substitutions. And I didn't get too far. That's kind of where we are. And I have to say, excuse all the little threads dangling. I didn't want to cut them because I'm still in the process of using them. So, and if I put them in behind, I just end up stitching them into my work, which is never fun. So I kind of leave them pulled out in the front. I guess this would be parking, right? This is parking. So this represents the half of the very top border, and I have to say I'm not as happy with this as I thought I would be. I really liked the colors. They're so beautiful. I mean, all the turquoises and the sort of persimmon color. And as I'm stitching it, I'm like, I mean, let me know what you think. I'm hoping it'll come together, and you know, the colors are fairly true here to what you're seeing. We've got just cross stitch, eyelet stitch, road stitch, and it's pretty easy again because it's 28 count. It's going pretty quickly. So this was the first project I started at the cottage, and I could have done more work, but you know, it just wasn't speaking to me. So I fortunately had a lot of others that I brought with me, and I had no trouble pulling another one out of the pile. So let's see what I worked on next. Oh yeah, this is. Oh, and you can see, yeah, I'm running out of project bags. it's my second plastic bag here that I'm using. Now this one, this pattern, I actually saw. I don't know if you know my Crazy Life Lori Sycks on on YouTube. She does amazing crafting tutorials. She does a lot of at Dollar Tree shopping. She does some floss tubes. She's so entertaining and enjoyable to watch. And I got to meet her when we were at our Stitch North retreat this past year. So anyway, she was working or finished this. She did a fully finish in one of her recent posts and videos. And it was so beautiful. It's called A Red Cottage by Plum Street Samplers. And I thought, well, if I'm going to take a project to the cottage, I mean, how cool would it be to take a cottage project to the cottage? I didn't have all the called for. And so in my boldness, I decided to do some stash busting or stash diving, whatever you call it. And what did I do? The fabric, oh, this is a Lakeside Linen, 32 count maple sugar. This is as far as I got. So it's not too far. It's a fun little project. It stitches up fairly quickly. And I don't know if you can see, try to get a bit closer. In that little, is that a berry right there? The color that I swapped out for that one ended up reading a little too gray or a little too pewter for me. So, yeah, so I kind of stopped. I didn't stitch that much in that color. So I went ahead and I ordered the actual floss, and it's a Gentle Art floss. So I'm just waiting for it to come in, and then I'll continue with that. I'll continue with this project. But yeah, I think I like the fabric. I really like the color, and the red that I'm actually using. I think this kind of inspired the whole stash swap. Is the thread that I'm using for the actual cottage that's red. Someone had given me this silk. Mississauga silk in copper, and I've never actually worked with it before, and it's really nice. I'm really enjoying working with the different silks and exploring them. And this one, it's got a beautiful soft luster. It's a nice twist, and I'm just making a mess of. Okay, I'm making a mess of this. Oh, there we go. Okay. You can see I don't put all of my flosses on floss drops, and that's going to have to change, guys, because it's getting to be a bit of a headache. It's sort of a hodgepodge here. So, Red Cottage, Plum Street Samplers. I'm using variety of silk and cotton floss over dye. And yeah, I'm just waiting for that other floss to come in. What was the color? Old Covered Bridge. Yeah, I looked at it online, and it's not as gray as it looks in the model picture shown. But yeah, I'm looking forward to picking this project up again. So thank you, Lori, for the inspiration. And I look forward to sharing my results or my progress on that soon. What is next? This one I shared with you before. This is not a new start. This is a work in progress, and her name is Mary Carter, 1712, and it's the 2020 Queen of the May by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. It's another beautiful chart from Nicola, absolutely gorgeous, and I think I'm into the band. I'm into the band sampler concept, and so this one I took with me because I wanted to get some headway on it. I really haven't done very much on it recently, and where's my little project card here? Here we go. Mary Carter, 2020 Queen of the May, Hands Across the Sea. The fabric that I'm using here, it's so this is where I am right now. I did get a bit of stitching done at the cottage on this one, and it's on Zweigart 40 count. This is kind of how wide it's going to be. This is kind of the halfway point across the top. So that's kind of how that'll give you a sense of how wide it's going to be. And it's a long one. It's proportionally speaking, it's a bit of a longer one. And this is stitched in the called for floss. It's Auvert Soie, and it's 103. And I'm really enjoying working with this floss. I don't know why people should be afraid of silks. This is very strong. It's like very strong, and it's a filament fiber, so it doesn't fray very much. At least for me, it's easy to thread through a needle. It goes through the cloth beautifully, and yeah, I'm really enjoying stitching on this. Regarding the verse, there's a lot of text on here. I don't know if you can see. There's a lot of text, and I know it's hard to read in its entirety because the color of the floss is used, and there's only eight colors. And oh, here, this is this is my little floss drop concept here. I don't think I talked about this before. I was looking for a way. I didn't want to wrap these in bobbins, and they couldn't really hang on floss drops. So I found these online, and they're essentially little organizers. When you're sewing, you have your spool of thread, and then you can put your bobbin just at the top. So next time you're using your sewing machine and you need a color, you've got the bobbin along with the thread. And these actually worked out perfectly. And I just put it on a shoestring. So this, yeah, this might not work with a project that has a higher volume of flosses. This is quite manageable, and I don't need to worry so much about symbols because on Hands Across the Sea charts, on every second page they put the thread legend, and the numbers are right on the spools. So as I'm using it, I just unwind, and if I have any left over that I could still use at a later point, I'll just wrap it up on the bottom. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this is working out for me. Definitely, I'll use the system anytime I have like maybe sulky threads would be suited for this. Definitely the 103. Yeah, I really like this. Anyway, all this to say that some of the colors it's quite tonal in nature, and the colors are quite close together, and they're quite close to the color of the linen. And, I don't hate that. In fact, I think it's kind of cool how, going back to the actual text, I think part of it may be religious. I'm seeing the words like praise and Mary and Lord, and I'm not into religious quotes, so but I really liked the play of the colors with the different words, how all of the words are sort of each a different color, and in my mind, the story I created is that there might be sort of a secret message or a subversive message kind of hidden in the text. And, it was kind of a way that Mary Carter is communicating a hidden message. So, so I thought, you know what, it's going to be easy just to stitch it as it's charted and enjoy the process and treat the words more as an artistic sort of aesthetic element, especially with the different colors. And maybe one day I'll figure out that secret message. So, yeah, Mary Carter. And she does have she has a real project bag here. So let me just tuck all of this away. So I know this was on a 40 thread count. It was a little bit higher than what I wanted for the cottage, but it had a minimum of colors and relatively few floss color changes. So I thought, yeah, I could work with this, and I did get a bit of stitching done on that. So that made me happy. What's next? Oh, yes. This is my hashtag, RyRy's First Sal, and this is a chart by Bendy Stitchy Designs. So Michelle Garrett, Michelle Bendy Stitchy. It is, how are we doing there? 1844 Lady Man, and yeah, this is sort of my first hashtag Sal, and yeah, it's been a really fun project. This is one where I kind of took liberties in terms of the floss colors that I was using. Again, I treated this as a stash buster. It it was using DMC, and that's cool. I love DMC, but I had all of these nice overdyed flosses that I wanted to try using up, and I thought that this would be a nice project for that. So I'm stitching it on a Seraphim. It's 32 count, and the name of the color, it's Jack Frost. And I think the last time I shared this with you, I had this element done, and I had this element done. Did I have the butterfly done? I know I shared the butterfly on my Instagram account, but I might not have shared it in a Flosstube. If I did, then I did. But the big chunk is the actual Lady Man himself. I managed to get him done all at the cottage, and yeah, he was really fun. His whole face here is done. It's one thread, one pulled strand of floss over one thread on the fabric, and so it's quite small. It's quite tight. I'm happy with the way that it turned out. However, because I did my own conversion, the color of his hair, I did rip it out. If I think of it, I'll post a picture here of the color that I originally had. He was a little Ronald McDonald. I did want him a redhead. And oh, you can see I used that red up here at the top of the butterfly and down below. And it just looked a little too corny. So I ripped it out and chose another color that was maybe a little more auburn. And yeah, I'm happy with that choice. The same with his skin color. I'm happy with that choice. And he's looking quite dapper, I have to say. So did I miss anything? Name of the chart, my own conversion. I think, yeah, so really I've got 3 elements left. There's the butterfly that goes up here. There's his little companion, that's sort of a spaniel dog. And yeah, you can see here, it's sort of the spaniel. And then the ground I still have to do. So kind of 1, 2, 3 motifs, I would say, that would kind of represent 3 big chunks of stitching for me. So maybe I'll have it done. What are we now? We're end of July. August. Yeah, so maybe sometime in September I'll have it in the bag. So Lady Man, 1844 Lady Man. Ryan's First Sal. So thank you for those who are sharing your progress on Instagram using that hashtag. I definitely appreciate it. I've been keeping an eye on you and enjoying seeing all of your progress. So another work in progress that I have that I took with me to the cottage, and but I actually ended up doing most of the work here, and this is in a beautiful project bag, courtesy of Betsy Kleger. Thank you so much for this sweet flamingo print project bag, and inside we have. Consult my little library card here. Oh, it's a Halsingland Halsingland Blommor. Halsingland Blommor. Courtesy of Modern Folk Embroidery. Again, Jacob, knock it out of the park again. I saw this and I saw him stitching it, and immediately I was like, add to cart. I even used the same floss that he was using. It's a Leo and Roxy Falu red. I know that this is a popular red with everyone, and I shared my progress. Honestly, I can't remember if I shared it in a video or on Instagram, but let's have a look where we are today. There we are. It's Zweigart 25 count antique white Lugana, and I know Jacob was doing a very high thread count, and I had this 25 count that I can't remember what I was saving it for, but I thought, you know what, maybe I'll try doing over one, and it still ended up being really quite small, and I think that this is the whole kind of center motif done, and you can see where we are right now. I still have quite a ways to go. I think I'm maybe 8 or 9% complete, so still quite a ways to go. But his charts are just so enjoyable to do. What I really like about them is that they're complex in its design, but simple in its execution. So once you understand a motif and the direction that it's going, you don't need to constantly refer to a pattern. You just kind of run with it. So it's not as mindless if you're looking for a project that's just like doing a fill in or doing straight lines. It's a little more than that, but it's also not one that taxes the brain so heavily that there's no space in your head to think of anything else. So that's why I really enjoy his projects, and I'm so happy with the way that this is turning out. Okay, what else? Well, we know, I'm sure if you've watched any of my videos, you've seen me talk about Jeannette Douglas and her Mini-Bouquet series for the year 2022. And I've been stitching them every month and been having fun coming up with different unique finishes. I know in the last video I did show off, this is the month of May, and I'm using some floss, some, who's it by? Vicky Clayton, some Victoria Clayton hand-dyed silks that a viewer and a fellow stitcher sent. Thank you, Hillary. And I've really been enjoying. She sent me this fabric too. Unfortunately, we're just going to kind of call it unknown. The thread count is maybe 42, 44, around there. It's definitely higher than 40, nowhere near 52. So I really like the scale of this. And so this is May. I'm pretty sure I showed this to you last time. And this is June. And what's unique about this one, it's in a glass vase, so we can kind of see the blue water and then the clear part of the top of the vase. And yeah, this was a really sweet. They're so easy to stitch up. Really, maybe in 2 sessions I can bang one out. Which honestly, I don't know what excuse I can use then for not doing July. So I've not yet done July, and I have essentially 2 days to start and finish it. So I guess this is going to plans then. So this is finish. This is June, finished. Again, using the hand-dyed silks from Victoria Clayton. This is the month of July, and she calls it a patriotic Mini-Bouquet. She created this one actually for Jeannette, the Attic Needlework, and because she specifically likes patriotic things. So you can see the colors are kind of red and blue, and she invited the stitcher to, change it up to any colors you want. She's Canadian, I'm Canadian, and so she said maybe red and white would be a good color option. I've not decided yet what colors I'm going to stitch with, but I will continue to stitch with the Victoria Clean silks, just because they're so much fun to work with. So that's sort of my finish and my plan, my upcoming plan. What else? Oh, so I shared with you the beautiful project bag that Betsy made and sent to me, and she also included this little bunny. She made a tiny pillow, maybe too big for a pincushion, really cushy and soft, beautiful stitching, and we stitched. We're all stitching that bunny there, Nicky and Betsy and I, and yeah, this is sort of the bunny club here. So cute, sweet carrot fabric on the back. There's a little charm that she included, and yeah, again, thank you, Betsy. That was so sweet. So this goes under Happy Mail, and thank you. I'll put it next to Bye Bunny. And what else do we have? Let me check my list here. Happy Mail. More Happy Mail. I, in the past, mentioned a friend of many, many years who has the privilege of traveling a lot for work, and he enjoys finding fun things for me. He'll often ask, like, Ryan, what do you want? What do you want? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So sometimes I do know. And he was going to London, and I said, this was the same fellow who, when he was in Paris, he went to Sajou. It's a French company, sort of haberdashery. They do a lot of cross-stitch stuff. And he was kind enough to pick up a few things for me that I shared in my last video. And in this video, we are going to be talking about Liberty. And so, yeah, I mentioned he was heading to London. And I visited Liberty when I was there for the first and only time in 2018, and I've heard about it before. Of course, they're if you sew or have any interest in that, they're famous for their beautiful printed fabrics. Their Tana lawn fabric, absolutely gorgeous. They're a very old retailer in London. This, they sort of built this Tudor-inspired palace, and it's quite a beautiful store. They, in fact, I'll share a link below. There's sort of a mini documentary series. I think they had 2 seasons, and 2 seasons, maybe 4 or 5 episodes a season. And it's about Liberty. It's sort of the people who work at Liberty behind the scenes, and sort of the history of the store, what they're doing to kind of still maintain current and fresh and relevant while still hanging on to their tradition and their family and their roots, because it did start as a family business. And I think, if I'm correct, it started, just shortly after the Industrial Revolution. So it was a way for them to sort of embrace or encourage still that sort of handcrafted design and products. And so I think that's why, sort of sewing and haberdashery really featured very large for them. So they're known for their fabrics. And if you want to check out the videos, definitely have a peek. And so he was kind enough to pick up a few things for me, one of which was Taylor's thimble. Can't go wrong with the thimble. That's very cute. And we've got some Merchant and Mills. This is not a Liberty brand, but it is a brand that you can find at Victoria Albert Museum. You can find at Liberty, and so he sent me some sewing needles, and what else did he send me? Some little some buttons. These would be nice, I think, in finishing a project, maybe as a biscornu, maybe with a floral motif. Uh, that's kind of sweet. Or even, you know what, a closure for maybe a needle book or a needle roll with a little loop, elastic loop. That I think that could be cute. So I'm sure I'll have a use for that. And I'm running out of space here. Oh yes, this, I think, did I ask for this specifically? I might have. I might have here. I'll just take it off the card. Um, Again, it's a Merchant and Mills product, and it's a metal sewing gauge. If you sew, you're familiar with this. And I do remember I asked for this. The sewing gauge I have is probably 30 years old, and funnily, it's exactly the same, like literally exactly the same, absolutely exactly the same, except because mine's old, all the black is wearing off, so it's harder to see the delineations. So, yeah, what a surprise to get exactly the same one that I had 30 years ago. So, thank you. And uh, what else? What else do we have in here? Oh, this I did not open yet. I did look at everything, of course. This I didn't open yet. This is another Merchant and Mills product, and it is baby bow scissors. So it says actual size. Actual size. Let's take a look. It's like Christmas or birthday. Oh, look how tiny they are. Oh my God, that's so tiny. Wow, that's adorable. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little M, a protective cover. Oh, that's sweet. That's really sweet. That's fun. That's nice. Yeah, great for travel. Great for anywhere really. Just traveling around the house. So, thank you. Definitely going to be using those. And some chocolate. This is. I don't think this is from. Oh, of course not. It's from Harrods. White chocolate with raspberry. We love our chocolate. And am I at the end? Oh, so this is the fabric that he picked up. They have these cute little stacks or mini bundles of fabric, and this actually I tucked in the bag. This is the same concept that I was shopping around for when I was there in 2018, and these were kind of the colors I selected. So they're kind of within the same palette family. They're very, well, I think they're full length of the fabric, quite narrow strips, and they're probably designed for quilting and making little patchwork pieces. But I thought that they might be nice for finishing, for lining up a project bag or a pouch, or for doing the inside of a needle roll or something. And so yeah, he sent me just these beautiful little florals. Oh, here, I'll open one up for you. The detail in them, and again, if you watch the documentary, they'll talk about the print designers of the fabrics there, and what they use for inspiration and how they're developed, and it's really quite a fascinating process. So you can see there's just so much detail involved in these designs. Really quite beautiful. They come in a variety of different weights. This is not a commercial, by the way. I'm just sharing information here. So they come in a variety of weights. You can use it for upholstery or curtains. Um, this is light enough for garments, making garments. And like I said, I thought that this would be a nice fabric to use for incorporating into a finish of a cross stitch project. So awesome. And oh, this is other fabric that I got. It's also Liberty, but I did not get from Liberty. I got from an official distributor. I'm sorry, the name completely slips me right now, and I'll put it in the drop-down box. And but Caroline, the name will come to me. This is a little palette that this woman put together of Liberty fabrics, and it was a fundraiser for Ukraine. The concept is you sort of create a patchwork piece that you would send back, and it would go into creating this larger work of art. And so the colors are all sort of inspired by the colors in the Ukraine flag, blues and yellows, and really very, very sweet, like really very quite special. And I think we'll be able to use these in a really fun way. So that's Liberty, and I think, you know what, if you want, well, if I want, I guess, maybe what I can do is, if you're interested, I'd be happy to share, some of these fabrics with you. If you want, I can have a draw. What the word fails me now. A giveaway. Total brain freeze on that word. I don't understand why. So yeah, what I'll do, I'll have a giveaway, and if you're interested in receiving, I know this isn't strictly cross stitch, but if you're interested in receiving a package of sewing needles, yeah, they're in different sizes and lengths. If you're interested in receiving a package of sewing needles and some of the Liberty fabric, just in the comments, why don't you just use the word Liberty? And if you have a fun memory of a place that you discovered in your travels where you picked up some nice stitching related treats, I'd love to hear about that too. So I know for me, Liberty was quite a special experience. I even had an afternoon tea there. And speaking of tea, this is iced tea. Cold brew. Do you know how to do a cold brew? It's the easiest thing you can imagine. I have so much tea, and in the summer, I don't feel like drinking hot liquids that much. So I just put some loose tea leaves in a pitcher of water and leave it in the fridge overnight. And over the course of the next few days, I just sip away at it. So there's a cooking tip, beverage tip. Giveaway. Use the word Liberty. Please be a subscriber. Please be over 18 so I can ask for your address. And yeah, I look forward to sharing this with whomever might be interested. So that's my little giveaway. Now maybe on to some retail therapy. I did pick up a few items from my favorite online retailers. This actually is my very first prairie schooler, and sort of Attack of the Killer Bunnies. It's from 2020, Santa, and yeah, so I think this will be a fun project for this Christmas. Maybe I'll turn into one of those little stand, not a card, not a folding card, but sort of like my bunny there, and but just sort of a little oval shape. Or that might make a nice card too. Anyway, Preschooler 2020 Santa. And what else? Oh, for talking about charts, I found two. I don't think that they're new, but this is the first time that I'm stitching or that I acquired by the Bay Needle Art. We've got two here that I picked up. I thought that they might be nice companion pieces for each other, and I was sort of looking for a third. This is Blueberry Hill, and this is Peony Hill, and yeah, I thought that that was really sweet. I love the play and scale with the size of the blueberries next to the house, and the little sheep grazing in the hill, and it's 72 by 105, so really compact. It doesn't use that many flosses, certainly not a lot of unusual specialty ones, although the Peony Hill does have, it does call for some glass seed beads. I'm not sure exactly where they are. Probably in the center of the flowers. And I'm not afraid of beads. I don't shy away from beads at all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to stitching these two. And I think when I needed to order that floss when I was at the cottage, blueberries were in season there. So, you know, I managed to sneak out and, well, not sneak out, but I went to a blueberry patch and paid and managed to pick some blueberries. And I'm sure I'll do something fun with those. They're in the freezer right now. And so, yeah, I thought Blueberry Hill, this would be a nice memory of the cottage as well. And this I wanted to share with you. We all like nice linens. And this, I've had my eye on Fortnite fabrics for quite some time. I started watching their Flosstube videos. It's a couple, they do hand-dyed linens, and they have a Flosstube channel. And I haven't tuned in frequently, so I don't know how often they post these days. But this was an exclusive they did for the Nashville Needlework Market earlier this year, and I couldn't resist. I had to pick it up. It's just a very small piece. It's called Exceptional, and it's 36 count, and the colors in it are just so beautiful. It's very soft modeling. There's sort of almost a grayish cast to it with some beautiful pale, rich green, beige, sort of a peach. I have no idea what I'm going to stitch on this, but the last, oh, it's another chart that I wanted to share with you. It's a Scarlet Letter, and this I picked up Nicky Noodle. Check out her Flosstube. Nicky Noodle was doing this, and it's by the Scarlet Letter. It's called A Peacock, a Unicorn. Sorry, A Peacock, Unicorn, a Badger. And I thought, this to me, it sounds like the start or the setup of a joke. You know, what is it, like a priest and rabbi or whatever walk into a bar? And the fact that P-U-B, pub, right? Yeah, they walk into a pub. So I'm going to call this my pub project. And it's just really charming. All of the motifs in it are really quite fun, a little wacky. And I don't think that this is an authentic design. I think that it is inspired by 18th century English canvas work. So it was originally done in tent stitch and satin stitches, and you know, focuses on the tree of life here in the center. So when I saw Nicky working on it, I said, well, I have to have that as well. So I mean, you know, look at that little squirrel. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? So this might be, I don't have any full coverage projects on the go. This technically is full coverage, but I think what I want to do is find a nice dark green linen that I can stitch this on. So I won't need to stitch all that background green. I think that would certainly save some time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth into that. And my last thing that I wanted to share with you, it's from Hillery and earlier, maybe a couple months ago, they had a special to celebrate a milestone, and it was they had offered a discount, and I think it was on everything in the store. But of course, I took advantage of it, and I like historic Worcester, and thanks to Caroline Evertoe for introducing me, and so I picked up a few things from them. One of them, which you might be interested in, I don't know, is they offer Verissois discovery packs, and what this is, it's a combination of different types of floss that Verissois makes, and this is an amazing, fantastic way of sort of exploring the different kinds of floss that they have on offer, and without necessarily committing to a huge project. And they offer kind of a chart here as well. This one, actually, this is for the Bordeaux chart. Sorry, for the Bordeaux Discovery Pack, but I picked up a different colorway. This is inspired by Pantone Color of the Year for 2022. And you can see it. You know what? Maybe I'll just open this up here. It's not very ASMR today. Look at this wooden spool. This is a soie perlée. And I just wanted to show you. This is the Pantone Color of the Year. This is the soie d'Alger. I think this is, if you're going to use an Auvera soie, this is likely going to be the kind of floss that you've worked with. The soie d'Alger. The perlée, I don't know how common that is, but I'm looking forward to trying it out. This is a Gobelin. This looks like a not a monofilament. It's a single ply. Oh, wow. Well, not a single ply. It looks like it's a 2-ply, but it's not meant to be separated. Very, very fine. That's going to be fun to use. And 2 more. There's a metallic. And there is a Soie de Paris. This one is beautifully, beautifully shiny. Just such a gorgeous luster on this one. This is multi-strand. Oh, here I'm having trouble destroying it, in fact, taking it apart. How many strands? There's maybe at least 6, probably 6 strands. Really nice luster on that. So, I was happy to catch the sale so I could treat myself to that discovery pack and the pattern and the linen for the pattern, and the kit that I picked up. They offer them in these little pouches, and I thought it's a little too small to be a project bag, but it's a nice way to keep things organized before you start stitching. And this is pastel number 4, and it's great. It's just a cross stitch and holbein stitch. I liked sort of the modernity of this one. Again, every grid or every little square can kind of be treated as a mini project. And the floss that comes in it was 3 shades of gray. The Soie d'Alger. So I'm really looking forward to stitching that. I've done a project where it's strictly monochrome, but I've never done a tonal project before. So both of these will end up being tonal. So I look forward to stitching those up as well. Beautiful stuff, really, really beautiful stuff. If you have not checked them out, please do. They also have an app that you can, if you purchase their PDF through the app, you can actually use it as kind of a pattern keeper to track your stitching. Yeah, it's a really great tool to have. So I use it for the one that I'm working on right now that I've shown in a previous video. What is it called? Colors of Water. And that's, I think, what I have to show you for today. Shout outs. I think I mentioned Jody and Betsy and Nicky and Darcy. I want to say hi to Darcy. I'm glad to know that you found your Stitchy, your desire to stitch again. So I think we all have been there and know what it's like to kind of get stuck. And I'm glad to see that you're sort of over that hump and are stitching again. So hi to Darcy. And new for me, YouTuber that I've just recently discovered. I think she's been around for 7 years. If I go back to her videos, they go back 7 years ago, but she doesn't do a lot of floss tubes. Flosstube videos. Her recent one was maybe a few weeks ago, and such a delight. It's I wrote this down here. Stitch with Sprite 966. She's from Scotland. Just I'm in love with her accent. I'm in love with her little filming setup. It's almost like a cozy den or a nest where she's got all of her stitching all around her, and it's just the perfect way to a perfect person to keep you company while you're doing stitching. So please check her out if you're looking for something different. Please enjoy watching her. So that's it. I'm at the end of my pile. I'm at the end of my sheet, and I'm surrounded by a mess. No cats came to visit me today, and but I'm glad that you came to visit. So thank you again for watching. I love reading your comments. I love replying to your comments, and yeah, it's actually one of my favorite things about doing these videos. So the Stitchy community is so wonderful, and it's such a treat to be a part of it. So so thank you for helping keep that up. So that's it for now. Until the next time, please take care. Happy stitching. Stay out of trouble. And we'll see you next time.